Konami has issued a takedown for the fan-made PT remake.
Hey, Adam. Does that sound like a hot take? A little while ago, for those of you that may not have been in the know, PS4 had a game called PT. Not actually a full release game, but a demo. Now, this demo was originally created by Hideo Kojima and the folks at Konami, and it also involved Norman Reedus as well.
And Guillermo del Toro to some extent, I guess.
It was going to be this big project, basically a brand new take on the Silent Hill franchise. It was very ambitious, and the demo was really impressive for a lot of people.
Right, it caught a lot of people off guard because this thing, PT, came out, and at first... people weren't sure if it was connected to Silent Hill, but eventually, you know, I think it does say eventually within the demo towards the end, Silent Hills does pop up, right?
And there was a lot of people that were playing this, and after a while of playing it, the game would, or the demo itself would turn to different experiences and get a little bit weird and not always act the same way.
So it was kind of like a very small, like enclosed space that you would keep like walking around.
Yeah, like a cycle.
Yeah. But as you kind of discovered things and kept walking, different things would happen, and then there were many little Easter eggs everywhere, to the point where people were playing this demo, it seemed like for over a month or so, and then like new things kept popping up. So it was immensely popular. Eventually it was taken down off of the PS4 network because the game was scrapped. So they were like, okay, we're going to scrap the demo as well.
Yeah, so Konami went out of their way to pretty much destroy any identification of this game that exists online. They apparently don't want to have anything involved with it. They don't want it online. However it may have happened, whatever happened in the back scenes, we do know now that you can't download it again. If you have a PlayStation 4 that may happen to have it downloaded, I believe that to this day is the only way you could play it.
So people are selling those on eBay and stuff.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy for a demo to do that. But what basically happened is the following. So Adam, you're going to cover this.
So this indie developer named Keemstar was working on a 100% reproduction of that demo, or as close to 100% as he could get. So we're talking animations, a lot of the ways that the game looked and played. He was going for complete accuracy. He was super duper close to finishing this demo, this PT remake, and he got a call in the morning at like 5 a.m. and it was Konami. And they basically said, like, hey, for legal issues, and they didn't, broadly get into things too much. For legal issues, you have to take this down, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a choice. I mean, being in a legal position like that, you really have to take it down because you have to. Once you get a cease and desist like that, unless you're willing to fight them, and an independent developer really probably isn't in a state to, go against Konami.
That's right. Yeah. So, it does seem like a very negative tale, I guess. We hear about people having their sort of remakes and things taken down pretty often, actually, especially when it comes to like Nintendo franchises. We had AM2R, and there were other things as well, like the Streets of Rage like remake. And there's just a bunch of stuff that had kind of legal issues. There's actually No Mario's Sky. I have it here. Yeah, No Mario's Sky. Well, there was a No Man's Sky-like game with Mario, and then Nintendo had to take that down as well.
Here's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to try and be as unbiased as I possibly can in this instance, considering that I've had a personal relationship with Konami that has not been so great. And I also am such a huge fan of Kojima and followed his work. So on the outside, fans looking in, it looked like he was basically ripped apart from by the seams just because he didn't agree with certain Konami practices. And how everyone looks at it from the outside in, Konami treated people poorly in the company, and it seemed to be a very bad impact how they had in the industry as a whole. So that's something that I take into consideration with everything I'm about to say. So when I say Konami was perfectly in the right to take this game down, I say that because it hurts. But I need to say it because it's their IP, it's their license.
And if you're going for 100% accuracy or close there too, I mean, like...
Now, clearly he wasn't using the Fox engine, right?
He was just kind of doing his own... It was... the
Unreal Engine.
Yeah, thank you. It was.
So he was using the Unreal Engine, he wasn't using the Fox engine, and that means that it's not going to be 100%, but by using some of the textures, trying to recreate assets as close to the original as possible, that's enough of an infringement case that people can basically look at that from Konami's offices and go, you know what, we have to take this down. And they've already established that they didn't want this thing out there anymore, right?
That's right.
So,
aggressively established that. So I didn't finish my thought a little bit earlier. So there is kind of a brighter side to this being taken down because the developer was actually offered an internship after the game was taken down. So he said like, oh, this huge weight was lifted because there's a lot of pressure on him from like the fan community to get this thing out there. And when you say you're going to remake something that's beloved and try to go for 100% accuracy and you don't deliver that,
yeah,
like even if it's free, you know, people can get in pretty heated conversations, right?
Well, who offered him the that actual internship?
Konami did. Konami said, I know, right? Would you take it?
No.
I don't know. But
no, I'd run for the hills.
And there was nothing like specific. It was just the person that called on the phone said like, you will be in touch with Konami, US, UK, and Japan.
What are they going to do with him, though?
They will make him into a pachinko machine.
Look, folks,
It's like something from Tales from the Crypt. I wanted an internship, but not like this. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
I really... This is something I want to stress. Whenever you see somebody making a fan recreation of something, in general, unless you're aware that you can deal with those digital issues and those rights issues, I would typically say avoid that kind of stuff. If you're going to make a game, if you're going to spend that much time and energy and money in making a game, why not make something that's original? Why not make something that you can attract people with? But then on the guise of it, you basically go, this is inspired by PT. It isn't 100% recreation of it, but it's an inspiration of such. Doing inspirations of games are fine. I mean, everyone knows that Undertale is essentially inspired by Earthbound and several other games,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what you do. You do stuff like that, and you can reach success, and that's the way you do it. But when you make something that's too close to the original IP, I hate seeing independent developers spend so much time and energy on something and being incredibly talented at doing amazing things, and then seeing those games pulled by companies that I don't feel they want to. And in this case, I can't imagine Konami wants more bad PR. And by offering an internship after that, clearly shows that there's something like, okay, someone at the office is like, look, he's that talented, we have to do this, because if we don't do this, it's going to bite us.
Yeah.
But it still bites them. I mean, I only hear the negative of this. I don't hear the positive. It's like if you wanted to recreate a movie 100%, right, as close as you could, it could be considered inspiration, but more or less, it's probably going to get sued. As a creator, you're probably going to get sued by the original creators of that original movie.
You could be if you don't change the original media in some form.
Yeah.
So it's weird because we have seen other sort of remakes that have, like, the original people that developed them were super cool with. So like things like Black Mesa came out, right? And it's like, hey, that's cool. That looks awesome. Or
well, that's an interesting point though, because that's Valve, right?
Right. Oh, and there's like Sega seems pretty loosey-goosey.
They weren't at the beginning.
No.
But now
There are some YouTube issues actually with some of the Sega games. But yeah, with Sonic and stuff, I know a lot of the games aren't like direct remakes, but there's a lot going on with that character that it seems like Sega's not diving in too deep.
Well, it's like, you've actually seen the fan community try to recreate things, and then I think it was the Christian Whitehead designed a Sonic 2 HD for cell phones and Sonic CD, which are brilliant versions of those games, and in my opinion surpassed the original releases. And then he went off with his team to go make Sonic Mania. So Sega really has adapted that and has shown that the fan community, I would argue, is more capable of making a Sonic game than Sonic Team as it exists right now, which is pretty a crazy thing to see.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these people that go about making remakes, it's like a boot camp a lot of the times, whether it's them picking up these people as PR, or it's just them like seeing, oh my gosh, like there's so much fervor over what this person's doing that we gotta pick them up, you know?
Yeah. And I think that when it comes to Valve, though, that's a very interesting point to bring up, because Valve is a company that originated with one game, right? Everybody knew Half-Life, that's what they were there for, but all the games they released afterwards seemed to be games that were inspired by other games, or games that were from other developers, and it was the modding community that really just exploded all that.
Right, because Valve was seen as kind of opening their arms up to indie developers way back when, because like Team Fortress was a mod originally.
Team Fortress was originally a mod for Quake.
Yeah.
And then they hired those people to move the game over, and they brought it to Team Team Fortress Classic to the Half-Life 2 Gold Source engine. The same thing happened with Dave Defeat. Dave Defeat originally was an independent fan-made mod, and then Valve hired those people on. Most notably, Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike started as a mod for Half-Life, and that was just some guys in a basement made a game. And then we saw the folks that made Narbacular Drop. They were hired to make a game called Portal. Right.
But to be fair, though, they weren't. Were they playing with Valve's assets in that game?
No, but it was a game. I believe it was originally made with a Quake engine and stuff like that.
Okay.
The idea is
you're saying indie developers that are getting picked up for their talent.
They saw things, brought them over, and wanted to incorporate those things. Because Narbacular Drop and Portal don't have the same narrative, obviously, but the concept of playing with portals, it's all there. And that's the idea, that they were taking something from one and bringing it over to another. So for me, Valve is capable of doing that pretty effectively. And it shows how much success you can have as a developer by working with the community one-on-one. And I mean, in those instances, if you know Valve is going to be safe with things and comfortable, that's where you work in that wheelhouse. And I mean, even to this day, if you were to make a really convincingly amazing mod for Half-Life 2 that everyone starts playing, or whatever engine that is current for Valve, Source 2, I believe it is, you could see like people at that company would reach out to you, and there's that chance you could get hired.
Some of the games that have come out of the independent scene, it's the success that they've had has been undeniable. Like, look at League of Legends or Dota. Like, both of those kind of branched off of some modding, right?
Yeah. You know, how I see PT, this working out, essentially is that I believe they should have just let it be. I think they should have just let it stay out there, let this guy make his game, and just let it be released. What's the damage? You're not going to release the game. You don't have any of the original people working on it.
I see it from the standpoint that was their work that they did, and he's copying it. He's trying to copy it verbatim.
If I'm going to be just a little bit of a jerk fan right now, it's not their work. It was Kojima's work. It was everyone that was there who is no longer theirs work.
But legally they do own it.
Legally they own it. But I think that I think Konami needs to work a little bit harder on appreciating the fan community that they have, because the fact that there is a fan community after all this stuff is shocking. Like, did you see what they did with Metal Gear after they did Metal Gear Survive? I mean, come on. Pachinko machines, a lack of care and direction, the general aesthetic. And I mean, there's this idea out there where it's okay to attack companies. And the thing is, companies are composed of people, right? You don't go attacking or going after people that work at these companies, because that's not fair. The PR companies, PR people that work at Konami are just doing their job, and they're trying to do the best they can. I've worked in that field before. I know how difficult and how extreme it can be to actually try and deal with a community. It is one of the most difficult and crazy things to deal with, because imagine having a phone call with 1,000 people every minute. That's what being a PR person is like. And when you're a game developer and you're slaving and working on crunch and having hours and hours and hours of time developing into a game, only for the game to come out and not really hit its mark, it's sad and it's hard.
Yeah, it all depends. Like, this developer said, like, he's pretty happy with the outcome. I think a lot of folks that do develop, like, when the companies do reach out to them, like, there is some sadness and some happiness at the same time. Yes. It's like, oh, well, like, this got so huge that I've noticed. And, like, there's job opportunities for some people, right? But you do have to let go of your baby.
Yeah. I really think what it is at the end of the day is Konami handled this not in the greatest way by pulling the game down.
Better than, like, 2 year or 3 year ago Konami.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Whoever was designing this game, K-Star, was it?
Kimsar.
Kimsar.
Not Keemstar.
Yeah. Kimsar would definitely be on a boat right now to Japan to be jailed 2 years ago. That's how bad Konami was. But right now, it looks like they're trying to move forward and employ different tactics and be smart about it.
They've seen the comment sections to every Konami YouTube video.
Yeah. So. I mean, at this point in time, the only thing they can do is grow. I mean, Konami is a big company. It's not just video games that they're into. There's a whole bunch of other aspects of the company, including gyms and bottled water and weird stuff like that. And I know that they have those kind of things, and they're dealing with that. But you need to be a smart business about all aspects of what you do. If you were McDonald's and you just made everything great, but for some reason the burger, or like the buns you made your burgers on, were made with like tar, people would be upset, right? And that's the idea. You need to be able to treat every aspect of your business the way you treat every other aspect. And I'm to understand on all of their fronts, Konami is a pretty smart company with what they do, and they have a really good customer relations. It's just when it came to the video game stuff most recently that stuff started to get into a really weird way. So seeing them do this with this developer, I think this is a smart move. maybe he'll become the director of the new Silent Hill games. Who knows, right? This is probably the step in the right direction, but we don't really know. But do you know? Do you want to see Konami continue making Silent Hill games? Do you think it was a smart move for them to do this, or do you believe it was a bad move?
I can already hear the shouting in the comments section already.
But let us know in the comments below.